Hello and welcome to Strange News. In this show, we're taking a look into the news and headlines to pick out curious reports of the strange, the weird, and the mysterious. Anything from UFO news to science advancements, the paranormal, and stuff labeled Fringe Science and Fringe Phenomena. Each news item we go over in the show, I will place all the links to them in the description box below once this live show is over, as well as chapters on the timeline index. Hello and welcome to all of my first-time viewers and listeners. And if you're thinking, is this deja vu? The answer is no. I actually went and I listened back to the show because I had to put in the timeline index. The audio for the first 30 minutes was so bad. The camera was not in focus. And let me tell you, I do not produce content that I am not happy with. All right. So we are redoing the show again today, right here, right now. So if you didn't catch it the first time, you're in luck. So before we get started, I would like to mention that on Wednesday was the review of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, episode 14. And what we thought was the final episode, turns out there is one final episode, episode 15. So make sure to tune in for that. It was a real big surprise. I didn't see it coming, but you know what? It's a gift that keeps on giving. Then Thursday, Mysteries with a History. We did the analysis of the UAP witness hearing that took place July 26th. We also spoke about what has happened since and what will happen next. Also, I've been posting a lot of shorts and reels on YouTube and on Instagram of snippets of the hearing, by the way, things that really caught my attention. So please take a look at that either on YouTube or on Instagram. And my Instagram is Strange Paradigms. Today, we're going to do another gift card giveaway. We're going to do another one. All right. The base price is 10. And if you want to make someone's day, put in a super sticker that says for the gift card. I will rack that up and we will do the drawing at the very end of the show. The word of the day, I got to change it. I don't even have one ready this time around, which is already garbage. But we should put pesto 2.0. That should be the word. Don't put it in just yet. Okay. I'm going to redo this one because for those that are just tuning in, I already did a show and I was not happy with it because of the technical issues. I'm just going to redo it. So it really is deja vu for a lot of you and it's okay. Pesto 2.0. All right. We are collecting that right now. I'll share my screen here. But Kurt, if you're still watching, don't worry. You are the winner for the first one. That video is now on private, so you can no longer see it. But this one is going to be made public. If everything goes okay, if my audio is bad right here, right now, please let me know. But I'm happy that the camera is in focus this time. So the word is pesto 2.0. Put it exactly as you see it. No spaces, by the way, James. Okay? Put it exactly as you see it. Perfect. No spaces, guys. No spaces. Just pesto 2.0. Okay? Exactly like you see it here. Okay, so it's funny doing it on a retake. But before we get into the articles, one thing that caught my attention when I was doing the research for today's show, I thought to myself, what about the NASA report that we were supposed to get in July? We got their panel discussion May 31st. They mentioned we were going to get their UAP data collecting report by the end of July, but here we are in August and we haven't received it yet. The question is, and I would like to hear your thoughts on this, is do you think NASA was being outshined by the hearing to where they're saying to themselves, maybe we shouldn't drop that article. No one's going to pay attention to it. But at the same time, if they wanted to be sneaky about it, they would have said this is the best time to just drop the report, have no one look at it, put nonsense in it, and everything's going to be A-okay. Either way, we didn't receive the report. Are we going to get it anytime soon? I really hope so. We're in the first week of August. August seems, I hope, promising because it's going to be interesting to see what NASA has to say about the topic because they are the go-to people that looks out into space, that does significant research, that is funded by the government as well. Take it or leave it on what you think about that information there. And NASA, has its own controversy and, things like that. But us pushing that to the side, we were promised a report and we haven't received it yet. They had 6 months to look at data, but here we are, and we're like, well, what did you find? Aside from that panel, again, that took place May 31st. But that's what I wanted to touch on before we get into our articles, because, like many of you, I am in the dark. I don't know what's going on until it happens, just like you. So it was something that I did want to hear your thoughts on. But getting into our articles today, because I got a bunch for you, let's go ahead and cover those. So, getting into our first one, this one is relevant to the hearing again that took place July 26th. If you haven't watched it, I do have the entire hearing and post commentary on my channel. I do recommend you take a look at it because it was a very historical moment that's going to be stuck in time for the rest of our lives. So, let's pull this first image up, because during the hearing, George Knapp was there and he dropped some information that is relevant. Let's get into this. Because Russian fighter jets once fired at possible extraterrestrial life forms after a pair of UFOs nearly caused World War III to break out, according to sworn testimony shared to Congress and obtained by Fox News. The testimony was given by George Knapp, an award-winning Las Vegas-based journalist who had repeatedly reported on UFOs and broke the story of Bob Lazar. Now, according to Knapp, when he went to Russia in the 90s, there was a time when the Russian military actually deployed fighter jets to fire on UFOs following an incident that nearly pushed the world into a global spanning nuclear war. In the testimony, Knapp said that the Russians had carried out what may have been the largest ever UFO investigation in history, spanning a decade with an entire Russian military sector. He says that he had spoken with a Russian military official, Colonel Boris Sokolov, who said that there had been no less than 45 different incidences where Russian fighter jets had clashed with UFOs, with Russian jets crashing in 3 of these incidents, resulting in the deaths of 2 pilots in clashes with UFOs. Why is this relevant? Well, not only was this information just recently dropped, but on top of that, during the UAP witness hearing, Tim Burchett asked Grush, have there been any injuries? Have there been any murders? Has there been any crashes at all? And this is kind of answering that question that Burchett had. Of course, this hearing was focused on the United States, but in the future, if we are to receive more hearings, I'd like for it to have a more global viewpoint, because the more data that we can collect, the better. And if all of these countries are functioning independently, there is a lot of gap in that research. But at the same time, from the stories that we've covered right here on this channel, when we've talked about other countries and their UFO sightings, their UFO crashes, things like this, the United States is so quick to come forward and collect it, to come forward and be there as soon as it was reported that there has been a crash. Why is that? We don't fully have the answers. We can speculate, but why is the United States always coming in first? We are aware, this is public information, that there have been multiple countries that have their own UAP task force. That includes Russia, China, Japan, Uruguay, and a few others that we know that are public, right? Like even just like the basic information or even just the title, we have a UAP task force, right? It would be logical for them to share that information amongst themselves at the very least, to kind of compare notes. Will that information again be made public? I really, really hope so. So for George Knapp to drop this as soon as the hearing ended, it was actually given to the congressman before it started, to my knowledge. Please correct me if I'm wrong here. but it's something that is interesting. Now, Knapp brings up a really, really great story, a popular story. If you're familiar with the connection between nukes and UFOs, which, by the way, I've done an entire show on, where multiple locations in the States and in other countries have had the issue between the two. But here's how the story goes in the testimony. It says, UFOs appeared over the base, and I'm assuming it is 1982. I'm guessing that is me, but there was no date provided. Performing astonishing maneuvers in front of stunned eyewitnesses and then somehow took control of the launch system. The missiles were aimed at the US and were suddenly fired up. The launch control codes were somehow entered, and the base was unable to stop what could have initiated World War III. Then, just as suddenly, the UFOs disappeared and the launch control system shut down. Let's go back, because this is a whack, wild, insane story. Because for these missile bases to work when it comes to nuclear weapons, and as the story goes for this Russian case, if we're talking about the same one, if you want to launch a weapon of mass destruction, it's not just one person's decision to be like, all right, click the red button, here we go. That's not how it works. Usually you can have 2 people, 3 people maybe. And for this case that we can find in the books, in order to initiate this launch, you had to go to 2 different sides of the bases and turn it on simultaneously in order for a launch to even happen. That wasn't the case in this story. Instead, it just turned on its own. Imagine the soldiers inside of the base, their heart just dropping to the floor with this level of panic, because it would be classified as an accident, but it would have created World War III. However, it seems as if the UFOs, whatever they may be, were just playing a little prank, saying, you thought, didn't you? We're in control. And then when they disappeared, the rockets were, the missiles were no longer hot and everything was fine. This story came out a few years after this, and it was highlighted again, really not really highlighting, but kind of touched on during the hearing in a roundabout way. And then we were able to get that testimony. The public was able to get that testimony from Knapp when he went to Russia in the 90s, as the story goes, at least. But after the incident, the Russian Defense Ministry supposedly issued a hands-off order for UFOs, which they said should be left alone since they may have incredible capabilities for retaliation. So all of this is alarming enough, but it also flies in the face of claims the US has made about UFOs since the late 1960s, such as the Maelstrom base in Montana with Robert Salas, or the Vandenberg case that took place in California. These are just 2 examples of things somewhat in the same ballpark. It's not the same story with the one in Maelstrom and Vandenberg. They were usually testing flight missiles, like test flights, of these missiles. A UFO would come down, shine a beam, and make sure it was deactivated and then leave. That was for the Vandenberg. It was caught on camera, and we never saw that footage, as the story goes, right? These cases are very intriguing, and it was highlighted in the hearing by Representative Ogles, who said, do you think these UAP have an interest in our nuclear facilities, our nuclear bases, our nuclear weapons? And all of them said yes, because it has been proven time and time again that there's a lot of sightings that take place in nuclear bases across the world. One of them is Rendlesham in the UK. This is another example of another part outside of the United States. And so I was like, oh, this is really cool. Of course, we need to cover this because it shocks a lot of people. And it continues here. Since 1969, the position of our military has been that UFOs pose no threat to national security and are not worthy of further study. This dismissive attitude is directly at odds with what was revealing in documents, reports, and internal memos, Knapp wrote. High-ranking military officials considering the UFO mystery to be serious business, the paper trail revealed via FOIA requests documents how military leaders knew that UFOs were real, not fictitious. They were that they were metallic craft capable of incredible maneuvers far beyond any known technology on Earth, and that there was a disturbing number of incidents wherein UFOs seemed to demonstrate an intense interest in our military assets, in particular, nuclear weapons. If this is not a matter of national security, what is? And this is something that is a great question that does pose a threat because obviously nuclear weapons are incredibly, incredibly, incredibly dangerous. And it will ruin countries. It will just obliterate entire countries. And if all these mega powers all have nuclear weapons, right, it would blow up the planet. If you're going down, or if I'm going down, you're coming down with me. That's the kind of mentality, right? But let's take a step back here because, and I mentioned this in yesterday's analysis of the UAP hearing for Mysteries with a History, and that was when Dan Warren, the guy from Fifth Pillar of Emphasis, looked in the hearing. He made a great video on it, and I'm going to highlight it again here. He was saying that the topic of our oceans was highlighted in the hearing, and I thought it was a really, really great catch because we can look back to the cases that we've covered here on this channel of a lot of UFO sightings that have taken place over the coast of California, the Catalina Island, right, the Malibu base. But during the hearing, is a lot of these cases that they mentioned were happening on the East Coast. Needless to say, these UFO sightings were happening over water. What if, and this is merely a what if question, we don't have the answers to this. But what if there are underwater alien bases of an ancient human civilization, an ancient once extraterrestrial civilization that has been here longer than humanity? What if it is a place for them to hide? What if it is a place for them to conduct their research that is safer than on land? There are so many possibilities, and I could continue on and on and on. I won't. You can if you wish. But the thing is that using the term non-human is kind of a catch all where it's not saying it's extraterrestrial because what if they've been here for a long period of time? You get what I'm saying? Well, when it comes to this and talking about nukes, what if they're disabling these things? They're like, hold on, we are sharing this planet here. You might be out of your mind, but I am not, and I want to keep everything to the most pristine ability that I can, right? What if that is their mentality, that they are the parents and we are the children here? I don't know. It's merely a speculation. It is worth musing about. It is interesting. Stevie says, like the movie The Abyss, fantastic movie, by the way. And also, Dan Warren had highlighted that at the very end of his video. He says, go rewatch it because, it'll make more sense, which is, I mean, really just such a good movie. It makes you think outside the box. It really does. But these types of conversations that we have are very valuable. It makes us open our eyes to new perspectives, listen to other people's standpoints that maybe you haven't considered. And something that a lot of people ask, and I mentioned this yesterday, and I'll mention it again. People are asking themselves, they're asking it online, representatives are asking this as well. Why now? Should we trust the government? Why should we? Is it just a whole psyops, right? And these are great questions. But disclosure will not come from the government at the end of the day. It will come from the people. But allowing the government to take this topic seriously and publicly is allowing people to look at this and say, now that you bring that up, let me continue doing research and maybe debunk you or to add validity to what you're saying. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. the thing is that we are having this conversation that is important, that is healthy, and this is the most important conversation that humanity is having. You might ask yourself, why do you always say that, Christina? Why do you always say this is the most important conversation that humanity is having? What about paying our taxes? What about putting food on the table? Yes, okay, those are also important. But this is setting a foundation for a different level of space exploration. We are a spacefaring species. We are not going to be on planet Earth forever. Jeff Bezos is a visionary. He is saying that he wants to commercialize space. Elon Musk is the same. At some point, our planet is going to perish either out of resources, out of some type of nuclear war, or who knows what else. If we are able to have an open mind while we traverse through space, it will be a more peaceful interaction than being xenophobes, just like the Klingons in Star Wars, where they only like their race and they are so destructive and they are so dangerous. That is not a good thing. We do not want to be like that. However, we fear the things that we do not understand. If we allow people to have a basic understanding of UFOs, a basic understanding of a potential extraterrestrial life, it'll make exploring space a little bit easier. You get what I mean? Are we on the same boat here? Do you understand kind of what I'm saying? And if you don't, please let me know why or why you might disagree. I am willing to listen to everyone and I do read all of the comments. So please comment down below your thoughts on what I just mentioned. Also, the word of the day is pesto 2.0. That is one word, no spaces. Right now, we're doing a drawing. It'll be done at the very end of the show. If you want to make someone's day, put in a super sticker that says for the gift card, and I will rack that up. And one person's going to walk away a very happy person. Getting into our next topic, but still on the conversation of UFOs, was a sighting that took place in Florida. Florida has had its fair share of UFO sightings, and you can say, well, it's right next to water, right? Right? Okay, cool. I have a visual aid. I also have a video as well. So we'll show both. While this sighting took place a month ago, it was only recently written about a few days ago. So, a 29-year-old by the name of Cameron Rich went to Florida to relax with her family. On June 17th, 2023, her and her family went to Fort Lauderdale Beach when a storm hit. And Rich decided to capture the lightning on video, which is genius, by the way, because seeing lightning, like, one with your own eyes, but seeing it on video, it's just so beautiful. It's so stunning. Sometimes when I really feel like relaxing, I like to watch those kinds of videos where it's just storming and you see all this amazing lightning, or even just the sound of thunder. I love them both, but also storm chasers, crazy. Love that kind of stuff. But suddenly, as she is watching the storm with her family, and she has her phone out recording everything that she can, she sees this elongated, bluish, and extremely fast object rush right in front of the camera. And Rich immediately noticed it and began to ask her sister Jennifer, "Wow, did you just see that? Something just flew over there." Let's share that video. Okay, here it is. It's going to show the original. It's going to show also the slow-mo version as well. It says that according to Rich, she immediately stopped filming, which was a mistake. She stopped filming the video as she wanted to scroll through the footage to get a better look at the flying object. In the video, you're able to see a blue elongated stick without wings and without a hint of something like an engine becoming clearly visible. And you're able to see it go from left to right, and then it seems to vanish in thin air. I'll play that for you again. Rich says that she was pretty scared when she saw this because she believed it was either an alien ship or technology created by the US authorities based on the alien ship. And here she was referring to reverse engineering. She says, "It was the fastest thing I've ever seen in my life. And because it was moving extremely fast, I thought it must have made some kind of noise. But no, there was no noise at all." She also mentions that in reality, the object appeared much larger than in the video, as you would, okay? Whenever you attempt to take a picture of how beautiful our moon is, and then you grab your phone, you're like, wow, the moon is so big, it's so pretty, it's so bright. You take a picture and it's a blob. It is just a little light circle, and that's all you get. In 2023, you would think we would have better cell phones, but no. No, we don't, which is very disappointing here. But and I'm glad that she brings up this point, is because our eyes are going to see things differently than our phones or like any kind of basic recording technology, right? And so she said that this thing was really, really big, or bigger than in the video, going at incredible speeds, just way too fast. And she mentions practically super fast, like supersonic. The reason to why I'm bringing this up is not only was it written just recently, but at the same time, when I first created this channel, I did UFO video analysis. That was how this channel started. And you're able, if you scroll to the very, 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 very bottom, you'll see them. But I have come across a lot of videos similar to this one, which have now been kind of referred to as the rod type UFOs, where they come out of nowhere, they leave out of nowhere, they're very fast, and they're elongated. Are they elongated looking because they move very fast? Could be. That's a good question. I'm not sure. But in the last, I want to say in the last like 5 years, these elongated rod-like UFOs have been seen more prevalently than in years prior, and that have been recorded and published online. That's why I find this interesting that she also saw this. People in the comments of this video were saying, oh, it must be some type of like glare, it must be a drone, it must be ours. And these are valid. Okay, sure. Drone, probably not. But glare, okay, I can see that as a possibility, but it's not strong enough. Because a glare, it would have exited the video. But unfortunately, here is the side effect here is that as soon as she saw this weird thing, she stopped recording to look it over. That was a mistake. But I'm assuming here she's never had a UFO sighting. She doesn't know any better. She doesn't know how to react. I get that. I was the same way when I had my first UFO sighting. The last thing I thought about doing was even grabbing my phone and recording it. For this person, the next time she sees something weird, she's not going to end the video. A lot of the videos that we receive about UFOs, they don't have a beginning, they don't have an end. That makes it very sketch. It makes it very disappointing as well. In this case, we were able to see the beginning, but not really the end. However, for this rod thing that was caught, it appeared and disappeared. It's weird. I would like to hear what you think about it. Because do you think it was manufactured, a glare? Do you think it was something worth looking into in the sense of it should pique someone's interest? Was it an interdimensional craft, possibly? Is it our technology but reverse engineered? I have no idea. But when we ask these questions, it helps us to keep our eyes on the skies and hoping to have our own experience, hoping to see something strange. So this is good to look at, but I also really approve and appreciate healthy skepticism as well, asking the big questions of like, is it not? It could possibly be this because of XYZ. I'm all for it. I want to hear it all. If you're enjoying what you're hearing so far, hit the like button. Let the YouTube algorithm know that you do want more strange news on your For You page. Also, the word of the day is hashtag Pesto 2.0 in one word. I will share that to you right now because we only have 19 entries, where we will do the Starbucks or Amazon gift card done at the very end of the show. All right. And put in, if you want to make someone's day, put in a super chat that says for the gift card. I will rack that up. But put in the live chat exactly as you see it here. Hashtag Pesto 2.0. Pesto? Why? Great question. I love pesto. It's delicious, by the way. And I made the most amazing breakfast on the planet, which was toast, mozzarella cheese, pesto, and an egg, all cooked on a pan. Now, if you're ever going to make toast, don't put it in the toaster. It makes it so dry. You got to butter both sides of the bread and put it on a pan. It retains the moisture My mouth is watering. And it's so delicious. That is the only way I make sandwiches. It's on a pan. 5 stars every single time. If you're a foodie and you haven't tried it, write that down. It's going to change your life. I tried it for the first time this morning. I found the recipe on Instagram and I said, I'm down. I'm ready to do it. And it's going to be my go-to breakfast for the next few days. So, all right, put in hashtag pesto 2.0. Wow, that coffee was cold. And cold coffee, when it's not iced, it makes my skin crawl. It is so gross. Just right below room temperature coffee. Nasty. Moving on to our next article, because now we're getting into the cryptid aspect. How many of you are familiar with the cryptid Champ or Champy? If you live in Vermont, you're kind of just on the top coast of the United States or the low part of Canada, you've probably heard of this cryptid before. Well, some are saying, one fisherman in particular is saying, I have captured Champy. He is real and he is ready to deliver. Would you believe that? Well, let's share this story and then you can make up your own mind on what you think. This is obviously not the picture of Champy, but this is what people think that he looks like. Very similar to the Loch Ness in Scotland. If you're familiar, I love Scotland. I went there when I was 6, by the way, and I told myself, I'm going to find Nessie. I'm going to be the person to find Nessie. Did that happen? I had an attention span of 5 minutes. And instead, some random fisherman was like, hey, do you and your dad want to try oysters? My dad, being my father, was like, yeah, sure, why not, stranger? I'll go into your boat. I don't know who you are. I don't know this country. Let's go for it. And he brings his daughter with him. And everything was fine, by the way. Nothing bad happened. But I tried oysters for the first time, and that was the first and last time I've ever eaten oysters. But new viewer watching from Scotland. Hi there. You're going to like the story. You in particular. So with this, it starts off with Champy is alive, wrote fishing boat captain Scott Thurber, and he posted a sonar image on social media showing the strange creature. Here is that sonar image. And Bob, thank you so much for the gift card. You are amazing. Looking at 30 right there. Thank you for that. So Thurber was fishing for trout on Lake Champlain on the US-Canada border and had a Garmin EcoMap UHD sonar on his boat. Genius. This is a specialized sonar with a high level of detail. The captain needed an echo sounder to search for large trout, but at some point, the sonar displayed something much larger and with unusual outlines, as we're seeing here. According to him, his sonar captured the legendary sea monster of Lake Champlain named Champy or Champ. According to numerous descriptions of eyewitnesses, it resembles the Scottish Nessie, the same long-necked watered lizard with flippers, which is awesome. Now, if you look at this sonar image, you kind of see the body, you see the little neck, you see the little face, you see the look at these cute little legs, and a really fat looking tail. Is this actually Champ? No clue. But this fisherman feels he feels like he has captured Champy on his sonar. He is for it. He's like, yes, this is the real deal. As in the case of Loch Ness, many explorers visited Lake Champlain to try and find Champy, but of all of them, only Vermont cryptozoologist Kathy Elizabeth was lucky, who in 2022 first caught, in quotation marks, Champy on sonar. However, in her case, it is difficult to consider something in detail, but this fisherman accidentally photographed Champy in all of its glory. When you don't expect something to happen or when you're not pushing for it, that's usually when That's when things happen. It's almost like, when you're just dying to look for something in your house or in your car or in your bag and you just can't find it. And then one day you're not looking for it, you're just casually doing your thing. And then you find that object you were desperately looking for hours. And then out of nowhere, it just pops up like you just created a portal in your house or wherever and someone's just playing a joke on you. When you're not looking for things, that's usually when you get them. And it's weird. It's weird. And in this case, for this fisherman, he was looking for larger trout, but instead he believes he captured Champy for himself. Now, this folklore has been going on since the 1700s, when the Native Americans told the colonists at the time in the 1700s that there is a sea monster. Be careful when you're in the water. There have been 300 reported sightings since, and this is the only second sonar image. The first one was in 2022, as the article says, by a cryptozoologist, and this one was just recently published. It's pretty cool. And you can make up your own mind if you think it's Champy, or maybe just like a log and some moss and, I don't know, like a ship. I don't know. Or you can think it's the legendary cryptid water monster. I like them both. They're both great. Whoopty says, we respect the portal around here for sure. Always got to show respect. But portals can never go wrong. Love a good portal. And Crave Mode, thank you so much for putting the word of the day in the live chat. Everyone, copy this person and put in hashtag Pesto 2.0 so that we can do the drawing at the very end of the show. We have 40 entries so far. Let's get to 90. We have 241 people watching this live. Hit the like button before we even continue. If you're going to do the drawing, you got to hit the like button. You can't do one or the other. It's got to be both at the same time. Okay? All right. Getting into our next one. Let me take that down because I'm just going to share my image here. No, should I? Yeah, I should. I should share it. All right, let's pull this up. Because would you want to be in the category of 1,000 people to attempt and colonize Venus or create be a part of a floating colony over Venus by the year 2050? Would you consider that? But what if I were to tell you, as an extra detail that is definitely worth mentioning, that this company that wants to create this colony in the atmosphere of Venus is the same company that created the submarine Titan that was supposed to look for the Titanic, and instead 5 people died because of a few miscalculations and not a great submarine. Would you still want to be a part of that colony in Venus if it was the same company? Okay, let's pull this image up because it's a weird one. Because Guillermo Solin, a co-founder of Ocean Gate Expeditions, has an ambitious plan to send 1,000 people to live in Venus's atmosphere by 2050. Now, despite the recent tragedy involved in Ocean Gate's Titan submersible, which resulted in 5 deaths, Solheim remains committed to his vision of making humanity a multi-planet species. Okay, you know what? I'm digging the ambition. Do I trust him? No. Not yet, but hey, by the year 2050, he might have been able to redeem himself by then. But as of today in 2023, I'm not buying it. I wouldn't buy that ticket. But despite last month's tragedy, OceanGate is still advertising 2 trips to visit the Titanic, which is located some 12,500 feet below the surface of the Atlantic, in 2024. So in 1 year, they're going to recreate a new submarine that's going to be, quote, super safe, and they're going to have people buy tickets. I don't know how that's going to go for them, but okay, let's continue on. So his plan, or I guess his aspiration, is to have 1,000 humans living in the sulfuric acid clouds of Venus by 2050. And he believes that a floating colony could hold 1,000 people in the Venusian atmosphere, although the exact details of how this will happen are not clear. So it's one of 2 things here. Either he just thought of this idea and he says, you know what, in order to redeem myself, let's go to Venus. What do you think? Okay, possibility. Or, as Grush would say, a misappropriation of funds here, where he's saying, yeah, Venus, yeah, great, woo, give me all your money. Do you want to be a sponsor? Do you want to be a philanthropist? Yeah, give me all your dough. And then it never succeeds. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just putting out potential ideas because it's one or the other. Okay. But Venus is known for its extreme conditions, including high levels of carbon dioxide, crushing atmospheric pressure, and sulfuric acid rain. However, he points to research suggesting that a part of Venus's atmosphere where humans could theoretically survive with lower temperatures and less intense pressure might be able to make it just a-okay. Now, out of all the planets in our solar system, people are looking at Mars. They're looking at our moon, okay? They're like, all right, these are possible. These are not incredibly dangerously dangerous and horrible. But this guy says, see, you guys aren't visionaries. You guys don't see what I'm seeing. I want to take that step further. Let's bring 1,000 people to Venus because I just want to outdo you. Venus is a very, very dangerous planet. Okay, it's beautiful, yeah, sure, but the greenhouse effect makes it super duper hot, by the way. And I mean, we would die. It's too intense of an atmosphere. But there has been this debate back and forth in the last 2 years or so of scientists that have looked into Venus saying, oh, there's phosphine. No, there isn't. Yes, there is. No, there isn't. Yes, there is. And for those that don't know, phosphine is a compound that is believed to be able to harbor life, which is great. That's what we're looking for in technosignatures and things of that nature, right? These byproducts of plants. Phosphine is potentially one of them. And so there's this whole debate that yes, no, yes, no. Finally, they're saying yes. There are going to be, I think, some launches to Venus in the next 10 years or so. I could be wrong, but in that time frame, maybe 20 years. But I mean, to put people in the atmosphere of Venus by the year 2050, dude, just create a nice mothership to just traverse through the solar system. That would probably be easier and better than creating a colony right on top of Venus. That's my opinion. We've covered so many space advancements, so much space news right here on this channel that I can feel confident enough to say it would be so much cooler to be a part of a mothership than to have a colony on Venus. That is just me. That is just me. So Sohin Venture Studio, co-founded with entrepreneur Khalid Al-Ali, aims to come up with creative business concepts and startup ideas to overcome commercial barriers to putting humans on Venus. And they plan to develop techniques to reduce launch operational costs and fund space missions without government support. Cool. OceanGate's long-term vision was to create affordable crude submersibles for underwater exploration. The technologies developed for this goal were seen as a stepping stone to space exploration. Yes, just yes. I agree with that. I think that is a great step forward. We are aware that there are astronauts, at least back in the day, that used to practice in water to have that kind of feeling of anti-gravity. And I'm going to assume they still do that. But yeah, to create stuff for our oceans and ocean exploration, that's going to be great to help us understand and use better technology for space. Fully for it. Yes, 100%. Do I trust this person? After seeing the Titan fail, no, I don't. Okay, because he was viewing the whole operation. This operation was of several years, by the way, and he's like, "Yep, everything is good to go. Let's go sell tickets." And 5 people died. Not great, not cool at all. But people are asking, why Venus? Like, out of all the planets, why Venus? Well, the venture sees Venus as a viable target for human expansion despite its challenges. Take it or leave it. Make up your own assumptions on what you think about that. for me. I think it's just attempting to show off and saying that he's bigger and better than everybody else. Is that the case? I have no idea here. But I just think that out of all the planets, Venus is just a very difficult one to attempt and create a colony on, at least in the atmosphere, right? Yeah. Some says he's not promising you'll survive. That seems to be the case. Yes. Yes. Traveler says, I would love a Star Trek future. I'm with you on that. Hold on to that. It's going to be relevant a little bit later. Okay? Because, yeah, Star Trek all day, every day. Love it. But while we talk about space and space exploration and habitating our solar system, let's bring the moon into this conversation here. If I can pull up my image. Because scientists are already looking into recreational activities. They're like, you're going to be on the moon for a long time. Let's put soccer on the moon. Let's make tournaments on the moon, but we're going to need a few new rules since gravity is significantly different. I'm for it. Heck yes. Sports are cool. It's great way to just let off steam. But for myself, I'm more of playing like foosball or pool, right? That is my kind of dig. Do I like running? No. Not one bit. I took track for 2 years and I despise every moment. I'd curse the ground, I'd curse my coach, I'd curse my teammates, I'd curse the floor, my shoes, everything. And I asked myself, why did I even join track and field? And all I could say was, I thought it would be fun. I don't know why that was even a thought in my brain. Okay. But the first ever football match on the surface of the moon could take place as early as the middle of the next decade. This conclusion was made by scientists from the British Institute of Engineering and Technology. According to researchers' forecast, by 2035, mankind will have mastered the natural satellite of the Earth to such an extent that they should have no problem with organizing a sports match. Super cool. I'm for it. Of course, the game will be different from what we are used to seeing on our planet, beautiful planet Earth. Scientists have already formed the rules for playing football/soccer on the moon and outlined how it will look like in general. You see, these guys, they're visionaries. They are looking into the future and they're like, okay, and just putting themselves in the year 2035 and thinking, how is soccer going to be different? How are we going to play football different? And they already made up a few rules, which is super cool. One of them is that the referees are going to be holograms and they will issue red and yellow cards to the players. Cool. And instead of using football uniforms, soccer uniforms, players will have to run in special spacesuits equipped with a cooling function. I like it. I hope it looks cool too. As for the arrangement of the playground, as they call it, lasers will come in handy, and they will turn the selected area on the moon into a flat surface. Also, the field, according to the plan, will be covered with a special surface so that the ball does not fly into outer space during the game. Great thinking right there. That's pretty smart. Futurist Brian Dave Johnson sees nothing surprising in the somewhat premature development of the rules of the game, and he says the lunar mission in 2025 will bring colonization of the moon one step closer, so it's only a matter of time before we start thinking about transforming our hobbies and sports for the moon in the future. Heck yes. Absolutely. Fully for it. But I want to see what they're going to do when swimming comes along. That'd be fun. Moving on. Because something that if you walk into any like kind of hip store, or if you walk into like Hot Topic, right? If if you're into that style, if you have kids into that style, you're going to see merchandise that says I'm allergic to humans, right? You've probably seen it at least once in your life in the last 10 years. What if it's a real condition? What if there are people that emit something from their skin that makes others react as if they are allergic to that person. That'd be horrible, wouldn't it? What if I were to tell you that was true? Let's pull this up as a visual aid, of course. Because an article from Big Think explores a mysterious condition where some individuals believe that gases emitted from their skin cause allergy-like reactions in others around them. This condition has been informally dubbed as "people allergic to me" condition. That, I mean, it's mouthy, it's wordy, but at the same time, if you like read certain conditions, the amount of letters that they use, syndrome, right? And it's just too many letters for my brain to just function. And the dyslexia kicks in. I'm just like, just forget it. Forget it. Just make it something simple. In this case, it's long, but you can remember it. People allergic to me condition. Cool. So some people are convinced that the gases emitted from their skin causes reactions in others, including symptoms like sneezing, runny nose, coughing, and itchy eyes. This has led to the feelings of isolation and being treated like a plague-bearing outcast. Previous scientific papers have suggested that the condition could be related to depression, social anxiety, or body dysphoria. However, a new study published in Scientific Reports took a different approach by comparing the skin gases of 20 people who believe they have the condition to 24 healthy controls. The study found that the people allergic to me group emitted significantly higher amounts of various compounds with offensive odors, such as acetone, hexanol, and toluene. These compounds could potentially lead to adverse health effects. The difference in emitted to toluene was particularly notable, as it is known as an irritant. That's pretty weird. The researchers ruled out excessive sweating as a cause for the condition, as subjects showed no signs of increased perspiration compared to controlled participants, which is something that I'm really glad that they looked into, that they considered, because when someone smells like sweat, yeah, it's not flattering. It's not really that great. Even if you're at the gym, you're like, oof, spray some Axe or put on some really nice deodorant or like perfume or something, right? Because in our noses overall are genuinely sensitive, and we react, our emotions or the things that we smell affects our emotions, even if we're aware of it or not. I'll give you a good example. When during Halloween, when I was young, my dad would always light up a candy, like a green apple candle, and you could barely smell it. Like, it was just so weak. But whenever it's that time of the year, I've always had this like necessity to smell that type of scent, heavy for a candle or like literally anything that kind of evokes those happy dopamine levels, right? Because of that memory. And it has to be during October. Like, forget the smells of pumpkin and pumpkin spice. No, for me, it's green candles, like green apple candles. That is the thing for me. And there are certain smells that probably really affect you, that maybe you have a negative memory attached to. Okay. When it comes to the sense of smell, it's very, very, very important. Also, please put on deodorant. Okay. Also pretty important, unless you eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. Scientists have found that if you eat an excessive amount of raw foods, raw fresh foods, not including raw meat, guys, just like fruits and vegetables, your sweats will not smell as bad. I've tried that and I have not seen success. Maybe just haven't had enough of it. I don't know. Don't know. But in this research study, while the study does not reveal a cure or specific cause for those affected with people allergic to me condition, it does largely validate the sufferer's experiences, showing that something is physiologically different about their skin. So next time you see that kind of merchandise out and about, I'm allergic to people, wear it loud and proud. Be like, yeah, heck yeah, People get itchy eyes and they cough and they sneeze when they get close to me. Too funny. All right. Now we're getting into the really weird, really strange, really bizarre, which is part of strange news. But I would like to preface before we get into this particular article, it's gross. It's really gross, actually, but it's fake. All right. Putting it out there right in front of you. Keep that in mind. It's going to be relevant. Let's pull up the screen here of this guy called Greg Wallace. He's on Channel 4, and he did a whole satire documentary about eating human flesh, like engineered human meat made in this fictional firm by the name of Good Harvest. Here is the shocking part about this documentary that aired on Channel 4 in the UK. Okay, the takeaway is that the people watching weren't informed that it was fake, weren't informed that it was satire. So people that were watching this were like, oh my goodness, Greg Wallace is off of his rocker. He is eating human flesh. He is eating meat that is made from us. And it's being aired on television. People were throwing fits. They were just exploded. Of course, there were a few that were looking at the documentary and they were saying, this is total BS. Like, this is a joke. I understand this sense of humor. But for the majority of people watching, they were saying this is tasteless, this is horrible, referring to the show, not the food, guys. Okay. And it just caused a lot of backlash on this guy right here. I'll put this other image up. So, built as a solution for cash-strapped families, MasterChef host Wallace interviewed, quote, donors who were selling their flesh to the fictional firm Good Harvest. The human tissue was then seen growing in labs into larger slabs of meat, which could be used to make steaks, burgers, and sausages. Pretty shocking. But MPs slammed the show as a bad taste take on the cost of living crisis and criticized Channel 4 bosses for failing to warn audiences its subject was not real, which really is a big mistake. If it was said, no, it's not real, people could have had a bigger laugh. People were scared. They were shocked and they were mortified. Just like a tuned flex right here showing all the little vomity faces. Yeah. It didn't sit well with the majority of people. And he got a lot of backlash, by the way. But the TV star was seen visiting donors, including a 67-year-old retired receptionist who agreed to have flesh taken from her bottom and thigh in order to fund 2 weeks' energy bills. So it's kind of a sensitive topic, mainly because a lot of people are having difficulty making ends meet, right? And they were kind of just taking a piss out of it. And it's not that great. Also, just a topic of like human meat, terrifying for many, because cannibalism, not only is it frowned upon, it's also illegal, by the way. For those that didn't know, you probably knew, but for those that didn't, it's illegal. But this whole thing was like, haha, gags and laughing and like super hilarious. But there was no warning. There was no like funny music that kind of just allows you to assume it's a joke. It was a very serious written documentary, but the whole thing was satire. To my understanding, Wallace has not commented on it. I could be wrong here. Maybe he just did today, but I haven't seen it. But from what I was looking at, he has not commented on the documentary since it was aired on television. Yeah, pretty wild. Pretty wild. Is it funny? It depends on your sense of humor. It really does. But I think in today's day and age, right, humor has shifted significantly, and most people wouldn't find this funny. But what's also weird, and it could be funny, probably to many here, or just really bizarre, is this. I'm going to pull up this image, and you can kind of ask yourself, what am I looking at here? Because Huangzhou Zoo in China has denied accusations that one of its bears is a human in an outfit after footage shared online sparked speculation that it was fake. And here is that footage, or here is that picture from the footage. Let's look at this one. You see this bear with just a lot of like saggy extra skin near the butt area, where the person that was filming this was like, it looks so unfitting. It looks like a person in a bear costume because the hind legs look really, really thin. The skin, it's not fitting right. It looks really weird, and it blew up online. People were like, this is fake. How could the Chinese zoo do this? What is going on here? And so the Chinese zoo, they comment on this and they say, well, first off, this is a sun bear, originally from Malaysia, and they're a relatively small species. But it also highlighted and emphasized that their animals are the real deal. The animals at this zoo in China are legit. And so the zoo, in an effort to quell rumors, posted on social media from the perspective of the bear, saying, quote, "Some people think I stand like a person, but it seems you don't understand me very well." The response came after a visitor shared footage of a bear in a human-like stance, as we see right here. And the video, which has been widely shared, shows a sun bear standing upright on fairly thin hind legs with a loose-fitting, creased backside of fur resembling, my goodness, a costume. And it goes into more detail on like the size of this bear. It's really small. It's only like 4 feet 2 inches, or about 1.3 meters, compared to the most commonly known like grizzly bears, which are about 2.8 meters, or about 9 feet in height when they stand up, right? But the reason to why this caught so much traction is not only the footage and this picture that we're seeing, but it's because suspicions were heightened given the history of other Chinese zoos having faced accusations of dyeing dogs to look like wolves or African cats and painting donkeys to look like zebras. So, zoos across China have already been under heat of them being accused that they are using one animal as another. And so when this went viral, they're like, oh, here's another one. Oh my goodness. Now, there were people that spoke for the zoo, like representatives, saying if this was a person in a costume, this costume would be incredibly thick, super hot. And the weather right now is like 40 degrees Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit. They would literally die having to stand there for hours outside in a bear costume. So that was their standpoint. Is this legit? Is this a legit bear? Is it a fake bear? We have no answers. If it was fake, the zoo would never mention that. If it's real, well, they did answer that. But you can make up your own mind on what you think. This here went viral. It's insane and it's strange. And that's why we're covering it here on Strange News. Oscar says, man bear. Yeah. Stevie says, I did it for the gram. Yep, there you go. It's too funny. Cyber says, Zonky. The donkey zebra. I like that name. That's cool. I like it. That's so awesome. Okay, getting into our next one, still in the conversation of things that are fake. By the way, the word of the day is hashtag Pesto 2.0 for a $30 Starbucks or Amazon gift card. If you want to make someone's day, put in a super chat that says for the gift card. We will do the drawing at the very end of the show. But getting into this one, again, still in the conversation of fake, and I really want to highlight that. I'm going to pull up this image here. This article was just written, and it's weird, okay? So we see a nice young woman walking her dog. But if you do a zoom in, it looks like a dog, but not like a real dog. Instead, it's a person in a collie dog costume. This person spent $14,000 to create this costume to fulfill his dream of wanting to be an animal. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Here is another picture. This dog's name is Toko, dog, human, whatever. And right now he has about 48,000 subscribers on YouTube, where he's in this dog costume and he just performs like dog mannerisms, dog tricks, and things like that. He has remained anonymous. We do not know who this person actually is. But last year, there was a filming crew from the German TV station RTL, this one that we're seeing right now, and they went ahead and they recorded this crazy story. It was just recently published. He was this dog thing, Togo, was able to use that video with the permission from the German's TV station and to post it on his YouTube channel just recently in the last few days. And that's why there's an article written about this. It's really strange. If you watch the video, I will place that link in the description box below. But for the time being, I will play this video that I got from his YouTube channel of him doing like dog things, waving and laying down and moving its jaw and stuff. And it's just weird. But you know what? Whatever floats your boat, as long as it doesn't, bother anyone else or hurt anybody, it's probably fine. It's just bizarre here. I don't even know what to comment on this, but he mentioned that he's always had an interest in wanting to be an animal since he was a child. That was his dream, and he finally accomplished that after spending $14,000 on a costume. Is it hot? I really hope there's some kind of ventilation going on there. That would be amazing because that's a lot of money, and if there's no ventilation, it's not even worth wearing that costume. But it's weird, and I thought I would share it with you. Now, I do have one honorable mention, and I'm just going to read the title to you. It was by Science Alert, and it asks, are legs more important than arms? And I just found that title so strange. I said, I need to make an honorable mention section for this week's show because it's just weird. But serious question. Are legs more important than arms? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the live chats, okay? Because I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. I'm going to share my screen here. We have 216 people watching this live. We only have 51 entries. Please put in hashtag Pesto 2.0 to win a Starbucks or Amazon gift card. If you want to make someone's day, put in a super chat that says for the gift card and I will rack that up. Okay? Fantastic. 51 entries. Let's get more. Come on, guys. Get serious. When I would like to state that more information that comes out regarding the hearing, I will keep you posted right here on Strange News. So do make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell because this hearing was a big deal. Of course, people are going to ask themselves, and I mentioned this earlier, at least I think I did, of why should we trust the government now? What is the purpose? Why bother? At the end of the day, and I cannot stress this enough, and I'm going to say it every single show, maybe for the rest of my life, disclosure will not come from the people. It will come from the government, but the government is highlighting this topic, opening more people's eyes to the possibility. When we have these conversations, when we look at UFO sightings, when we look at videos, when we look at this UAP hearing and everything that's happened since then, it is setting a foundation for newcomers to think to themselves, I didn't consider that. Let me look into it. And they begin to ask bigger and better questions than ever before. We are a spacefaring species. We are not going to be on planet Earth forever. Either we're going to blow it up with our nukes, we're going to use all of the resources, or we become bored and we want to travel somewhere else. But if we have an understanding of extraterrestrials, even just the mere basics, even just being open-minded, it will not be as devastating. It will not be as dangerous than thinking to ourselves, nope, we're the absolute best. Humanity is amazing. Aliens don't exist. And if we do, we're going to shoot first and ask questions later. We do not want to be the Klingons like in Star Wars that are xenophobes, that only like their race and that is it. They only like their species and that is it. Anything and everything else are going to shoot first and ask questions later. We do not want to be like that. And we are not going to be on planet Earth forever. That is without question. We are seeing this with Guillermo Solin. We are seeing this with Elon Musk. We're seeing this with Jeff Bezos. And we're seeing this with NASA and the Artemis program, right? I can go on and on and on here. But if we are just merely open-minded, if we just merely ask good, healthy, maybe even skeptic questions, it's going to be a lot easier to explore space than say, nope, there's only microbial life and that's it, and everything is a-okay, and never ever we're going to see intelligent aliens, right? Good luck with that mentality. It is not going to go well for you in 10, 20, 30 years. But that's just me. That is just me here. Okay. And I think many, maybe not everyone, but many of you might be able to agree. If you don't agree, let me know why in the comments. I'd love to hear your standpoint, your viewpoint, your opinions, and your insights, because they're not only valuable for me to be able to walk in your shoes practically, but also other people that read the comments right here on YouTube can also see your standpoint and say, oh, I didn't consider that. And then they will do their own research, as will I. So your comments are valuable to open our eyes to new possibilities. Right, that's right, Jessica. Klingons, LOL. I have been binging Star Trek. Star Trek Strange New Worlds, killing it. It's so good. I'm also excited for the new season of Discovery. Just like all of the new Star Trek shows and like seasons have been so good. I really liked Picard as well. I know it wasn't for everyone. I really liked it. I love Discovery. I love Strange New Worlds. They're just on fire. They're so amazing. Weird Traveler says the United Federation of Planets all the way. Heck yeah, fully for that. Okay, hashtag Pesto 2.0. All right, we'll do that drawing in just a moment. I will give you like another minute, 60 seconds. Okay, we have 221 people watching this live, only 58 entries. If you're enjoying the conversation that we had, hit the like button. Let the YouTube algorithm know that you want more strange news on your For You page. Also, if you're listening to this on a podcast platform, jump over to YouTube. That link is below to where you can see all the pictures and all the videos that we shared right here. Okay, let's do the drawing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's see. Let's see who is going to win today. Let's see. Paradox Fossils, congratulations. You are the winner today. Please send me an email. That email is below with your YouTube URL. And if you prefer a Starbucks or Amazon gift card, when I get that email from you, I will send that over to you rather quickly. That is it for today's show. If you enjoyed this conversation, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and also follow me on Twitter at eyes_on_the_skies for all of my updates and news. Also, take a look at my Instagram for pictures and reels. Recently, I've been posting snippets of the UAP witness hearing, things that really caught my attention. You can find it right there. You can also find it right here on YouTube under the shorts. But if you want to continue this conversation, bring it over to the Discord server with 2,000 other like-minded people. Share your thoughts, your experiences, your insights, and more. I know one of my amazing moderators will share that link in the live chat. I want to thank everyone that watched this show live, all the super chats, super stickers, YouTube members, Patreon supporters, and all of my incredible moderators. I simply could not do this show without you. And we did 2 today instead of 1. Because the first one, the audio was so bad. I was like, I have to redo it. I am not going to produce garbage content. I'm going to do the show again today. So for some of you, it was like, deja vu, Cristina, what's going on? Surprise. But that is it for today. I will see all of you next time. Be safe. And remember, keep your eyes on the skies.